Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. We are really excited to talk to you about this virtual study abroad, the final frontier, as it were. I am Sandy Strick from the School of Hotel, Restaurant, and Tourism Management.
And I'm Karen Edwards, and I'm from the Department of Retailing. I'm also a CTE faculty mentor.
And we're both in the College of Hospitality, Retail, and Sport Management. We're so excited for you to join us today. Karen and I have done many study abroads together, and we have had so much success, and they have been sort of stories that have huge impressions on not only us but the students. And we were excited to do one last summer until the bottom fell out, and wanted to still be able to have the students have the benefits of a study abroad program. And so this is what we came up with as a virtual study abroad. We know that study abroad has so many great benefits for the students. Extends learning beyond the classroom. It helps students develop professionally, and it helps students develop personally. It gives them new interests. It helps them make new friends. Lifelong friends in many cases. If they have any language skills, they can hone their language skills. They learn to become independent, which is a huge thing for many students. They learn that they can solve problems on their own, and they learn that they can adapt to new situations. And we can go on and on and on with all the advantages of doing a study abroad and what it brings to students. They just learn to dream a little bit beyond the walls of wherever their walls are. We didn't want to let that go. So the idea was to find an alternative, some other way that we could do a study abroad and give some students an opportunity that they wouldn't necessarily get any other way. So the session today, we hope that by the end of this session, you will be able to explain global classroom programming and how we can convert that into a study abroad option. We hope that you'll be able to identify the resources that we'll talk about, but we're also in the previous session as far as the many resources that the university has. It's really amazing how many resources are available to faculty at U of SC. And finally, get started on your own flag shipping, which is a term that Provost Tate mentioned in one of his town halls, and we'll let you experience more about that in just a minute.
Sandy, as she had mentioned, she and I have led numerous global classrooms together, planned and all through the study abroad office, and like everyone who had a global classroom or study abroad experience planned for this year, we were really disappointed when we couldn't run our luxury management in Italy study abroad program this year. It's a phenomenal opportunity that we really believe in. So in working with the study abroad office, we threw out the idea and said, well, what about a virtual experience? We're not willing, as Sandy said, to let this one go. It's so rich. So as a pilot, to explore how we could translate a study abroad program into a virtual experience, we decided to try teaching it, and the study abroad office worked so closely with us. Now, I will tell you this, it was a lot of work to prepare, but once you've got it made, it is really an incredible opportunity. We enlisted the help from many wonderful colleagues, which I'll mention in a moment, business partners, alumni. What ended up was we were able to really produce what we think was a meaningful global learning experience, also known as GLE, right, for our students who enrolled. And an interesting thing is it wasn't really the same audience as the students who were signed up for our luxury management in country event. So even though there is some overlap, we can, through this experience in a virtual opportunity, bring in some students who might otherwise be restricted. So here you see that obviously our luxury management in Italy didn't go, but you can see that we used to promote it to students. We had lots of fun and exciting learning experience scheduled both in the historic context, in the cultural context, in terms of the businesses that we were going to visit, like the Ferragamo flagship store and the Banfi winery and the Lamborghini Museum. Just really exciting, rich experiences that we had planned. So we got to work thinking about how can we make this happen. I do want to give quick shout outs to the Education Abroad Office staff who helped plan and facilitate the pre and post global competency assessment, conducted live stream pre-departure and debriefing sessions. That would be Jenna and Anushka. And also we got reflective activities assisted from them. Our HRSM Director of International Internships, Christina Budd, was not only a guest speaker, but also helped us round up one or two others. And Rob Grukett at the Office of Distributed Learning gave us resources for 360 videos. So special thanks to them. All right, so here's what it translated into. And the little light bulb thing is to show that when we put our heads together, we could make this happen. So in developing the course, we focused on preparing insightful learning materials, rich virtual real-world reflection opportunities, and feedback opportunities. So what we did was we created an itinerary and set students up with their travel buddy, just like in an in-country experience. So we had morning events, afternoon events, an itinerary of where we're going, mapped it all out. We made it as realistic as possible. Now, we're planning for both the in-country as well as the virtual programs for 2021. And I'm going to turn it over to Lydia to share with us a video from a recent town hall. You might recognize this guy.
In that same school, last spring, they created, when we went off face-to-face and into real time into virtual classrooms, they created a study abroad environment that is now a template and a framework for what we're doing this fall more broadly across the university. So even though students can't get on a plane and travel, our colleagues have created a lesson framing so that the global experience can continue to happen for every young person that decides they want to do that. That's not a trivial matter. I mean, that's big time making it happen. That's flagshipping, as the president talked about in his remarks. I'm really excited about the platform that's being created, because not only are we going to be able to use that now during this period, going forward, it's going to be a possibility for many students who might not be able to travel for whatever reason. They're going to have virtual opportunities potentially.
All right, thank you, Provost Tate. Yay. Now back to our screen. Well, that's coming back up. You're going to see just a snippet from our course syllabus. And I want to tell you that that syllabus was developed in collaboration with CTE. I participated in Dr. Frost's COLT, or the CTE COLT program, and my capstone project was making a syllabus that was formatted correctly for online learning and incorporated all the elements that are expected as far as learning objectives and resources and this kind of thing. Now, after completing this syllabus, it was reviewed by the Education Abroad Office as well as the Center for Integrative and Experiential Learning. So the elements that you would need for developing your own virtual study abroad program are present in this syllabus. And if you would like one, we will send you a copy of it. We thought we'd be able to upload it in the chat box, but cannot do that. So if you would like the syllabus, we will definitely get it to you. All right. Next thing, you can see here, we did all of our course materials through the Blackboard Forum, which is what we normally do for our in-country experiences. Here you see a snippet of their first day in country, and it's kind of fun because what you see here is We welcome them, and there's actually out there, you're going to be amazed at what resources are out there. There's a 360 video of the Rome airport. So we had the students, go with their buddy, walk through the airport just to see and get a feel of the travel experience. Then we had them walk from the airport using a Google map and find a restaurant, right, with their buddy and decide where they want to stop for lunch or dinner, whichever it might be. And then to choose something on the menu, talk with their buddy, right? Then to walk to the hotel. We also gave them a 1-minute snippet of, or we're going to see a 1-minute snippet of the first tour we gave them. Before we check them into their budget-friendly hotel, we let them see a little snippet of the luxury hotels. All right, so tip of the day, right? Maybe not tip of the day, but handy tip. The next time you go on your in-country excursion, right, take with you a 360 camera. We normally visit the St. Regis Hotel, which is a 5-star, unbelievable, just amazing. So we didn't do that last time with the St. Regis Hotel, so we had to show a different hotel. But if you can, get your hands on a 360 camera and take your own video when you are in a country where there might be a site that there is no generic or generically available video. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sandy.
Karen's right. If we were videotaping the St. Regis, we could show you how they sabered the champagne bottle, and which they do every single day. It's pretty cool. But anyway, I don't know, largest collection of vermouth sounds pretty interesting to me as well. So here's an example of a day that we posted that the students got to experience. So you'll see here that they watched a mini lecture. Karen and I created these mini lectures depending on where we were, and every day there was an activity in the morning and another activity in the afternoon, which we are very careful about doing when we're in country. We want the students to not think of this as a vacation or a trip, but it is an educational experience. And so we try to pack it in pretty tight. And we did the same thing when we were putting this one together. So again, each day they had a mini lecture and they had things to do. They had readings to do, and shout out to the library. They were amazing and so helpful. They got us the Bellafiora to use, and they got it free for everybody in the class to use for X number of days. It was a virtual book, of course, and they were so helpful with not only that resource, but many others as well. So we visited the same places that we would have in person. As Karen said a little while ago, it is amazing the resources that are out there so that we can visit the Sistine Chapel, and don't forget to look up and see the beautiful ceiling, and we can visit all the lovely places that were in Rome, and don't forget to stop and eat something and take a look at what the food looks like. What would you choose? And then finally, at the end of the day, the students are required to do a reflective blog. We really are crazy about this idea of the students pausing at the end of the day, thinking about the Sistine Chapel, thinking about their visit to the Vatican, thinking about what they might have eaten, thinking about what they read, and doing some reflection on that. Without that piece, it doesn't seem to be as meaningful, and it really is amazing when you start reading their reflective pieces. So here's another day where this one was a little bit different than the last one in that we went on a group trip, so to speak, in a bus if we were in real life, but walking if we had to, just like in Rome, I guess. So we had some readings to do, but these were not from the textbook this time. These readings were about where we were going in Tuscany. So we found great resources out there again, and then we asked them to prepare for a speaker that we were having. And so while most of this class was asynchronous, some parts were synchronous. And when we had speakers, we asked the students to join us for the speakers. We posted those way in advance so they knew when to be available, and they were. All the students were there. And so we had a speaker who was Elizabeth Koenig from the Banffy Winery, and she did an amazing job of walking through with the students what the Castello Banffy was about, and what the significance of Banffy was to the Tuscany region, because they were really the first of their kind to really bring Chianti back to its forefront. And there she is with her hair blowing in the breeze, and I think the students really got a lot out of this idea of there she is there, and here we are here all at the same time. It seemed to really have an impact on the students. So we asked the students before the speaker to pose 3 unique questions. Think about who the speaker was going to be. Think about what you're curious about, and post questions before the speaker. Then we had the speaker, and then we asked them to do some reflection afterwards. So there were some prompts in the discussion board that they were to answer, again, as to think back as to what they had learned and what was the significance of this in their lives and in the role of luxury management. And so not only was Elizabeth there, but Sharon McCarthy, who is the Vice President for Education at Banffy, both joined us in that Zoom meeting. Point out something to you here. These were speakers that we had already made contact with. We knew them, so it was a very easy transition to call them up and say, would you do this for us? Would you be a speaker? There were a few challenges with getting the connection, technology and all that, as it were, and we're using Blackboard, and is that better than Zoom, and all these sorts of things. We had to figure some of that out along the way, but in the end it was so worth it. And actually Elizabeth said it was very worth it for her too, because she could show her people that there were a lot of things that they were doing in the time of COVID to advance education as well. So she found it very helpful as well.
In the interest of time, we're going to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, in the interest of time, we're not going to show that snippet.
Okay. We had a snippet of Elizabeth with her hair blowing in the breeze. Anyway, to move on a little bit, sorry, I got a little chatty there. One of the things that we asked the students to do was a research project. And so this is a really fun time for us to see what they are pulling together. They could research anything in the area of luxury management with regard to hospitality or retailing, and they had to work with their buddies on this project. And ultimately we gave them, a timeline, a suggested timeline, but ultimately it resulted in a 5-page paper, not including title page or bibliography. We gave them the resources. If they had never written a research paper before, we gave them a link to how to do that, because it's amazing how many students have not written research papers. They also had to create a 5-minute recorded video, and they had to do it with their buddies. And what was great about this is this would have been a project that we would have done in country. We would have done it live, and they were so interesting to listen to when we got that chance. So this was our version of that, and it worked really well. It worked really well. They got to explore some really interesting Gucci, Ferragamo kinds of things, and learn all kinds of interesting things about classic Italian luxury. Also, another thing that we did is we asked students to reflect. Every single day they had a reflection piece to do. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier, they just had to reflect in their journals, and it really kept them on track. Here's some things to think about. What did you see? How interesting was it? If you were in country, would this still be interesting? How is this going to help you in your career? All those were points of interest to them and to us, and we just asked them to think about these, and students are really good about doing this every single day. We use the live sessions, again, for them to reflect back on and to communicate with us, and we got to give them some reflection back, which I think is also very valuable. Also, peers provided feedback, so we had guided discussions, many different directions, and it made for some really rich conversations among the entire group. So one of our favorite parts, I'm speaking for Karen and myself, I know on this one, when we're in country, is towards the end of the, towards the end of the, our time in country, we read the journals. We read every single one from every single day, and we give them back to the students before we say goodbye. But we really get a chance to learn from the students exactly what their thoughts were, and we get to write comments back to them, and we do for every single student, and we sort of give them a keepsake. So this is something the students will keep with them. It is sort of a souvenir of their time in country. They got the same thing with this experience. And so here's some of the feedback that that we found was particularly meaningful and let us know that the students really did get some valuable experiences. I was not able to be in Italy physically, but the virtual tours and the guest speakers make me feel like I was. And I don't have to read these to you. You can see how valuable these comments were. I know we only have 5 minutes left, so in closing, just to mention some of the great resources that are available to you at U of SC.
I'm going to just jump in, if I could, and mention
please.
Shameless promotion, which, Sandy and I are big on. You can now, through CTE and the Global Learning Office, earn a digital badge in virtual online international programming. So on October 16th, October 23rd, and November 20th, you'll want to join us at CTE for all 3 workshops. Sandy and I will actually be doing the November 20th session, and we're going to be giving you all the resources we use, tips, and a bit more in depth on how we actually built this course, and we're going to share all the resources with you. So we will absolutely do that. CTE can help you design an online course syllabus, develop a navigable Blackboard page. The Office of Distributed Learning will help you, as well as they helped us, with creating videos, lectures, getting those 360 resources. The Center for Experiential and Integrative Learning can help you plan your course so it counts toward graduation with leadership distinction. And we will give you the handout for this session, as well as the sample syllabus and those 360 resources that we mentioned earlier. So ideally, offering the in-country is a wonderful thing to do. It's life-changing. But during times of crisis, as well as for those students who cannot get to the in-country experience due to whether it's financial or physical or whatever limitations they might have, this is a really cool option. And one of our students even said, I felt like I was really there. Now I need to go in person. So we hope it will be a great tool to facilitate people being interested in delving into world travel once things get normal.